2024, the year where sparkling wine came out on top, red wine tried to make a comeback, and ready-to-drinks RTDs, well, we'll talk about that in a second. So what really shook up the industry this year? From the non-alcoholic boom to AI innovations over to some really surprising flops, this episode is about what was hot and what was not in 2024. Enjoy! Welcome to the Pinot and Pixel podcast episode number 217. We will talk about what was hot and what was not in 2024, because one of our next episodes will be my predictions for 2025. And what usually happens is the industry, the experts in the industry have predictions for the upcoming year. We did this on the podcast as well, and there were so many things that were expected to be a hot thing in 2024 that came out as a top one, and some also flopped. And then there were some things, as usual, people didn't have on the map. And we will talk about all of this in this specific episode. And I would like to start, of course, with the rise of non-alcoholic beverages. Non-alcoholic beverages have been a trend over the last 5 to 10 years. The quality became so much better, so much higher, especially when we talk about de-alcoholized products. So the category is growing, the quality is increasing, and people expected 2024 to be the non-alcoholic year. So the reality is sparkling wines in the alcohol-free industry are thriving, especially when it comes to Central Europe. They play a big role, not only in the sparkling wine game, but also in the general category of alcohol-free drinks. And especially the premium segment is looking for more and more products. The problem is that the still wines are still struggling, especially in comparison to premium juices, kombuchas, fermented drinks, spirits, and mocktails or alcohol-free cocktails. It's quite tough to stand, because you still have the feeling with most of the products that something is missing. And I'm not talking about the comparison to normal wine with alcohol. I'm talking about a drink where you expect quality, complexity, structure, length, or everything that wants you and your peers to talk about this product. And I guess with the rise in quality and the technical innovations that are done in this specific field, we will see wines like this, and there are already some in the market, but they still struggle to find mass adoption. So to sum this up, when we talk about alcohol-free drinks, the demand is there, the demand is real, which is very important for some people who are still thinking that it's not a deal. Mindful drinking is in people's heads, and sparkling wines dominate this space for now. So maybe there is something to predict for 2025. We will see. The next big thing for 2024 was the expectation that artificial intelligence would revolutionize production, marketing, sales, and even the wine tasting itself. And what really happened, and this was a big part not only of this podcast, but also is usually a big part of my lectures at university or keynotes, especially when we talk about the technical processes in the vineyards, AI showed definitely some really interesting and exciting use cases, from pruning to vineyard work, spraying with drones, disease handling, green harvesting, and even harvesting with robots. There were so many brands coming into the market that we're not talking about a very small percentage. Huge strides have been made when we talk about vineyard monitoring or predictive analysis, helping wineries to process their data and to optimize yields and especially sustainability. Some brands even introduced AI-curated blends, used AI for marketing, chatbots for consumer engagement. So also, again, this specific technical part, these use cases for AI are real. So AI isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's genuinely transforming how industry operates, how small businesses are trying to optimize their processes, but still the adoption remains uneven. The next big shift in the wine industry predicted for 2024 were alternative sparkling wines. Sparkling wines like Prosecco, Cremant, Cava, English sparklings would gain ground against champagne. This has been the case for some categories already in 2023, and this also happened in 2024. Prosecco remains the crowd pleaser. English wines are becoming more prominent, especially in the Scandinavian countries, in the premium segment in general. Cremant and Cava became the go-to alternatives when it comes to quality, and champagne sales try to hold steady, but unfortunately they lost again in 2024. So our takeaway here is that consumers love options. They are looking for quality, but of course they are also looking on the price. And sparkling wine has become a category where innovation and tradition can coexist, and especially looking at a price point of, I would say, 50% of the average champagne, these categories are growing and will grow in the future. The next category is about sustainability, and in combination with climate change, a thing that many people already said to have on their map when we talk about the future of wineries, of companies in the wine and drinks industry. The expectation for 2024 was that organically or biodynamically grown wines, sustainably packaged wines, would dominate the shelves, that consumers are asking more for products like this. And the reality was that due to the price sensitivity and the lack of awareness, people were interested in this category, but it didn't see any huge growth. The good thing is that more and more brands are committing to a sustainable approach, even though it's quite tough to navigate for consumers and for growers as well through this world of certifications, of processes, of demands when it comes to sustainable work, to organic farming. So we definitely need more awareness in that area, in that section, and people have to understand, and I'm talking about everybody, that sustainability is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not something you just show up for 30 seconds, get your certificate, and then it's gone. It's more about an approach you follow for upcoming years. And consumers as well as producers have to understand that the industry has to head in that direction. It's the right direction, especially in the context of climate change. These were the top topics for 2024. So right now, let's talk about the flops. And the first one, in my opinion, was driven by the hope of many producers, especially of many people who are part of this wine lobby, that red wine would see a revival in 2024. Last year, for the first time in the history, we saw not only a decline in general wine production and general wine consumption, we also saw that white wine was more popular than red wine. And there were so many trends and facts that were contributing to that: health orientation, lower alcohol levels, lighter wine styles, everything like this. And the people in the industry tried to convince everybody that red wine is so good and we have to keep on drinking red wine. In brackets, high alcohol, full-bodied, and very, very heavy. So the expectation was that red wines would make a big comeback. And the reality is that still red wines struggled to compete, even the lighter wine styles, with the whites and the sparkling wines. And I think when the numbers of 2024 will be published, we will see a decline of reds again. Because, I mean, in my opinion, only few people try to change the image of especially red wines. They try to stick on the reputation they have had for hundreds of years, not understanding that consumers of today and of tomorrow are thinking differently. They don't want to drink red wines with 16 alcohol. There will be a niche, of course, but it won't be the pizza, pasta wine of the future. So we have to rethink the image of reds. And if you want to convince especially younger people, the younger generation, of the quality and the accessibility of red wines, we should definitely think about a change in the reputation and in the style. Light wines like Gamay, like cool climate Pinots, like Zweigelt from Austria, they are making progress already, but they are not stealing the spotlight of the whites and the sparkling wines. The next flop was already mentioned in the part of the tops, still alcohol-free wines. So de-alcoholized wines, wines that have had alcohol that was removed and nobody added bubbles to them, so they usually have to compete with their alcoholic counterparts. And what happens in our brain is we compare fuller-bodied alcoholic wines with lighter-bodied non-alcoholic wines that also lack in structure and in complexity after they have been de-alcoholized, and you can't compare them. And they also have the problem that they are not super aromatic, super in your face, not refreshing. Some are, usually the Riesling base, but especially when it comes to neutral varieties or rosés or red wines, this category is still struggling a lot. I think especially still wines that are some of those bridge products that can open the whole category of non-alcoholic wines, of non-alcoholic drinks to people who are interested in. And I'm not talking about either this or that. I'm talking about mixing it. Having a really good wine with alcohol and having a good product without alcohol. But when we talk about structure, complexity, and these products where you sit down with your peers and you want to have a chat of 15 minutes about this specific product because you can talk about it. It's so interesting. You can dive deeper into aromas, flavors, taste, the palate, the finish, everything. We will talk about teas, about kombuchas, about premium juices, maybe some mixes of de-alcoholized wine, maybe aromatized. But I don't think that still wines without alcohol will dominate this category. And there are some great spirits without alcohol as well. And last but not least, talking about the flops of 2024, ready to drinks, especially the premium section, they were said to be dominating the shelves of Europe because there is a huge success in the US and also in the UK. But I still have the feeling that, especially in Central Europe, the consumers are not ready for drinks in cans. RTD is a growing market, also in higher percentages, but still super small. It remains a niche, especially when we talk about Germany, Austria, France, Italy, so the traditional wine countries. It's still a niche. And the attachment to traditional drinks and traditional packaging is way stronger. Have you ever tried to make a high quality wine and put it in a can? Nobody would like that over here, fortunately, but well, it's just in our head. So I think the combination of building awareness in people's minds about higher quality, about more sustainable packaging will show and will open a future for this specific market, ready to drinks, just drinks in cans in the future. I don't think this will happen in the next 2 to 5 years, but we definitely have to have an eye on this category because it's exciting, it's interesting, and it's more convenient. You can just have a small sip of your favorite drink, put it in your bag, and carry it wherever you want. And last but not least, I want to talk about the wildcards, so the things that hit or missed this year, and we didn't see that coming. And I want to start with my favorite wine category of the year, sweet wines. They are making kind of a quiet comeback. More sommeliers are trying to reference to sweet wines, try to pair it with cheese plates, with charcuterie boards, with desserts, because it's an interesting category. It's an exciting category, quite tasty, and some of them even sit at a lower alcohol level. And in addition, especially the younger generations are discovering sweet wines, vintage ports as a special gift, as a special treatment for holidays, or as a pairing for desserts, and in the use of modern cocktails. Yeah, there are some cocktails that are made of port or sweet wines. So, in my opinion, especially in 2024, the sweet and fortified wine category showed that they are not only grandma's choice, they are finding new relevance in modern society and in the modern wine culture, especially with the younger ones. The second thing that really mattered for me this year were fermented drinks that I won't say they took center stage, but they were quite present, especially when we talk about the no and low alcohol category of fermented beverages, kombuchas, kefir-based drinks, shrubs, tepache, fermented botanicals, stuff like that. And even a category where a fermentation is happening, but with special bacteria that don't cause alcohol to be in the final product. We talked about that in the interview with Wilbrick. Super exciting category, and they came on the map, and I guess only few people were expecting that. A very interesting category, but also usually tough to market, especially when there is an alcohol level of 3 to 5, because when we talk about performance marketing, who do you address it to? The people who are interested in wine? Well, tough. The people who are interested in alcohol-free products? Also tough or not possible. So you're in between. It's similar things that people told me that are working in the low category in general, like gentle wine, for example, where the average product has 7% alcohol. It's tough to address when we talk about performance marketing. So you need somebody out there storytelling, talking about the products, building awareness on the category. So this came up this year. It's still very, very niche, but it was interesting to see that there was substantial growth in that category. And last but not least, a thing that really surprised me, especially when we talk about the area outside of the European Union, because within the European Union, it's not allowed, the rise of zero sugar, healthy, low-calorie products. So every alcoholic drink that was de-alcoholized or partially de-alcoholized is lower in calories and can be marketed as healthier, in quotes, drink. The European Union says you can't market any product without alcohol as healthier than the one with alcohol because just due to the fact that it was de-alcoholized. And in my opinion, this is good, because what is healthy? Healthy is a very generic term we have to talk about. It's a bit like sustainable, and we shouldn't make healthy the new sustainable, if you know what I'm saying. We should talk about the category itself, about mindful drinking, about the balance between good alcoholic drinks and alcohol-free drinks, and not using products that might be lower in calories automatically being healthier. Because if you add a bunch load of sugar, it's not healthy at all. It's just lower in calories. So please, when you see something like this in marketing, think twice, have a look at the back label, and try to imagine what really is behind the process of the production and what people had in mind when they were marketing this product. So to sum this up, guys, trends come and go, but one thing remains true: drink less, but better. So cheers to a mindful 2025. Thank you very much for listening. See you on Saturday with the weekly update. Ciao, ciao.